Hey, what's going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. Now, today's video is going to be in response to some comments that I've received. Now, I do this all the time. You know, last week, somebody put in the comments, they asked me, what do I feel about the possibility of the draft coming back, or do I think it's a possibility in the near future? And I made a video about that. A while back, I made a video because somebody asked, how does the DHS government shut down and how did we get here? So I made a video response to that. Some of the comments I get are negative, of course, and I responded to those too. Somebody said, you can't be a Democrat and a Christian at the same time. I had a good time making that video, and I'm very proud of that video. But today's video is going to be in response to this comment. It's sad to see that you're just another tax and spend liberal. Okay, let's talk about that. First of all, I do not consider liberal an insult. That's not what I am, but it's not an insult to me. What I am is a progressive. Now, those two terms, liberal and progressive, have been used interchangeably in the media a lot. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that before I go into the whole tax and spend part of his comment. Now, liberals, they see government money coming in, and they say we should be using that money to feed hungry children or to build homeless shelters. Very commendable. I agree with that. A progressive is a little bit different because we say things like, why the hell do we have so many hungry children and so many homeless people in the richest country in the world? We, as progressives, often want to try to attack the system because we feel like the problems that we see are the result of an economic system that is unfair to those near the bottom. So it's a much more aggressive stance. I want you to look at it like a liberal who wants to tear the whole thing down. A lot of time progressives would say we want to tax the rich, we want to increase housing affordability, we want to raise the minimum wage, and we want to stop spending so much money on the military, especially sending money to foreign militaries. That's where the real money issue comes in for the progressives. So let's address the tax and spend part of that comment. Conservatives are always saying, y'all just want to just spend the money without working. Why can't we just cut taxes and put more money in our pockets? They think we shouldn't be spending money on unnecessary programs like SNAP or free lunch program. That's a real thing. There's actually conservatives in each state saying that we shouldn't even be having free lunch for poor kids, for hungry kids in the school system. So it's all about no unnecessary spending. But if you even suggest cutting the military budget, they have a fit. I'm going to check my notes here real quick, but the military budget in 2024, they spent $874 billion. America spent $874 billion on the military. So I got curious. I decided to go to Google. I asked Google, hey Google, what would it take to give a 25% raise to every teacher in the public school system? And it came back between 80 and $90 billion. That is less than 10% of what the U.S. military has been spending. So it's not about spending, it's about priorities. Where are your priorities? Because we're going to spend. The U.S. government is going to be spending that money. We're going to collect taxes and we're going to be spending that money. The question is, what do you want that money spent on? I would personally much prefer that we give every school teacher a 25% pay increase, every single one in the entire country, and lower the military budget by just 10%. I don't see how you could be against that. So now let's look at the Iran war that's going on. In the first 6 days, the U.S. government has spent $11.3 billion. Now, this is usually a part where somebody comes in the comment, where'd you get that number from, CNN? No, we got it from the Pentagon. Members of the Pentagon, including Pete Hegseth, briefed Congress last week that in the first 6 days, we spent over $11 billion on the Iran war. And they expect to spend about $1 billion a day while this war is going on. So I checked the tracker this morning. We was at $20.6 billion spent so far on the Iran war. $20.6 billion in 15 days. That is enough money to feed every child in the public school system for a year. And we spent that in 15 days. Now, I can come with a lot more examples of wasteful spending, but I think I've properly addressed the whole spending thing. So let's address the taxing thing. Do progressives want to raise taxes? Yes, we do. Progressives want to raise taxes, but not on you. We want to raise taxes on those who we feel are not paying their fair share. We got progressives like Ro Khanna, one of the most progressive politicians in Congress, who has proposed a 5% wealth tax. This 5% wealth tax would only apply to those who are worth $1 billion or more. What would that do? 5% wealth tax over 10 years would raise $4.4 trillion for housing, child care, and health care. $4.4 trillion over the next 10 years. Now, obviously, there are not nearly enough progressive candidates in the Congress to get something like that passed. That's one of the main reasons why I am constantly pushing to try to get more of these establishment Democrats primaried and try to get as many progressive candidates in the Senate and the House of Representatives that we can get. The more progressive candidates like Ro Khanna, like Kat Abogazella, like AOC, like Bernie Sanders, who has been there for quite a while trying to get these things done, but never had enough support from the establishment Democrat side. We really need to push for more progressive candidates. I am proud to be called a progressive. So that's my response video for today, fam. I know it's kind of short, but I like being able to interact with you guys. And I promise that I will respond to every comment that comes up on this video. And I will try to address any of the concerns that you may have that you would like me to discuss on this channel. There are a couple races going on this week and over the next few weeks that progressive candidates are polling pretty well. So I'm going to be watching those very closely. Most likely I'll be reporting on those results as best I can. But I am encouraged by what I am seeing. There's been 28 state seats that's been flipped. All 28 have been from Republican to Democrat. I'm hopeful that a lot of those Democrat seats are progressive. We'll just have to wait and see what their stance are, what their political platforms are. But I am encouraged by what I am seeing. So, like I said, fam, short video today. In response, I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say, and I'll just see you in the next video. You've been listening to Don's Voice. Remember, your vote is your voice. Don't be silent. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.